Ayo guys, what is cooking? Welcome back to NGB, and today we are doing another tier list similar to my Premier League prediction tier list, but this time we are doing Star Wars movies and TV shows. Now I love Star Wars. I love Star Wars so much. And off the back of Andor finishing up about a month or two ago, whenever it was, I decided we're going to do some ranking for Star Wars shows. Now, I think actually in saying that, Andor isn't even on this list, which is incredibly disappointing. But it's okay, it is not the end of the world. Now, you can see the tiers that we've got here. We've got goated, very good, good, average, bad, and absolute trash. Now, I don't think that all of the TV shows are necessarily here. So the ones that aren't here, I will tell you where they would fit in this ranking system at the end of the video. But we're going to go with all of the movies first in chronological order, okay? So we're going to start with episode 1, The Phantom Menace. I adore this movie, okay? I obviously was born in 1999. I grew up with the prequels, and I love so many things about these movies. Now, Phantom Menace, I'm going to put in very good. The dialogue is a little bit cringy. Baby Anakin is not that great, and it's a little bit weird, him and Padme in this. But in saying that, this movie has Darth Maul, it has Duel of the Fates, and it has the single most epic fight sequence to end a movie, I think, just about ever. Obviously, Revenge of the Sith does rival that a little bit, but I love Darth Maul so much, and we're going to talk just about how much I love Darth Maul when we get to the Clone Wars a little bit later on. Next up, we've got Attack of the Clones. Now, Attack of the Clones cannot go above average, okay? The final half an hour of the movie saves this for me a little bit, although actually Attack of the Clones has the music Across the Stars, which is like the Anakin and Padme love song theme, and that in and of itself could make it goated, in all honesty. But because it's got that, I'm gonna throw it in good. The last half an hour of this movie absolutely saves it, but the lead up with Anakin and Padme's love story and just the cringiest dialogue in the world, and I'm sure that you would have all seen the memes of like Padme dressed in that like black dress. You know the one that I'm talking about. Actually, let me pull up the picture of it so that you can see. Right, so it's this scene here when she's looking like this. No woman is dressing up like that and telling Anakin, I don't want to be with you. I don't want anything to do with you. Look at what she's wearing. Just absolutely outrageous scenes. But yes, Attack of the Clones, that last half an hour absolutely saves this movie. Now, moving right along, Revenge of the Sith literally cannot go anywhere else except goated. Alright, again, it suffers from the same problems as every prequel does, the dialogue issues, but this movie, from start to finish, you got Order 66, you got Anakin absolutely slaughtering the younglings, you've got the Anakin Obi-Wan fight to Battle of the Heroes as the music composing behind it is absolute pure cinema. I absolutely love everything about this movie, and this was one of the first movies that I actually remember seeing in cinemas for the first time. It came out in like 2004 or 2005, I think, and I absolutely love this movie. I watch this movie at least 2 or 3 times a year, and I cannot ever get over it. I absolutely love the reveal of Order 66. Palpatine is a little bit cringy in it, if we're being completely honest with ourselves. The way that he does lightsaber fights is just so baffling. Why they wouldn't just put a stunt double in and have like a real fight is beyond me. But it's ridiculous how this movie came out in 2005. The lightsaber fights in this movie have not been topped by anything that the sequel movies, any of the TV shows have done. The Acolyte came close a little bit with a couple of the lightsaber fights, but nowhere near as epic or as just like well choreographed as this fight scene was at the end of this movie. And I don't know how it's taken years and they still haven't topped it. Right, now, next movie in chronological order, we would come to Solo. Now, truth be told, I have only watched Solo once, but I actually enjoyed it. I don't know why it got so much hate, in all honesty. I think it was good. I loved the reveal of Darth Maul at the end of that movie, and I'm hoping eventually that we might get the sequel to that. I know we're getting the Darth Maul TV show, but that's animated, and I would love a sequel to Solo in the live action universe focused on Emilia Clarke's Kira. I think there's so much to explore there, and the fact that Disney still haven't done it is a crime. Now, Rogue One. Now, like I was saying before about Andor coming out, I absolutely adored Andor, and I think it's only made this movie better. I always thought that Rogue One was good, if not very good, but Andor has absolutely elevated that to firmly in very good and almost in goated, I would go to say. So we're going to leave it in very good for now. It's definitely above Phantom Menace though. It's right below goated, if not maybe sneaking into goated. Okay, now next up we have got A New Hope. Now, the original trilogy is obviously objectively are the best movies out of the lot, but they don't have the same feel-good factor that I get from watching the prequels, and that's just how young I am, what I've grown up with. But in saying that, A New Hope is very good. Okay, A New Hope is very good. I'm not putting it above Phantom Menace. I just can't do that, just out of personal preference. But it is very good, and even when you watch it back now, the fact that it doesn't rely on special effects, obviously the lightsabers looked incredibly dated as opposed to the new stuff that's come out, but the story-wise, it's so epic, and there's a reason that so many movies tried to copy what Star Wars did from back in the day and reinvent things. Star Wars reinvented cinematic masterpieces and what cinema could be back in the day, and it's why the franchise is so beloved across so many generations. Now, The Empire Strikes Back absolutely is goated. Okay, The Empire Strikes Back is an absolutely phenomenal movie, and it's one of those movies, I've always loved movies where the villains win at the end of it. Okay, you've got The Dark Knight, where the Joker technically wins that movie, and Batman goes on the run hunted at the end of it. You've got this movie. At the end of this movie, think about watching this in cinemas when this came out. Luke Skywalker has his hand chopped off and is absolutely well and truly defeated by Darth Vader, and you find out that Vader is his father, by the way. You've got Han frozen in carbonite. You don't know whether he's alive or what is happening with him. You've got Leia, who has just told Han that she is in love with him, and he's given the most iconic line of "I know," which is just so unbelievably epic to this day. You've got 3PO in pieces, and you've got the end of this movie where I can't even remember specifically what happened. I feel like you get a shot of the Death Star being built again at the end of this movie from memory, which is like, oh my god, the Death Star is back. And at the time, obviously now it's a little bit cringy looking back on it because there's been a million Death Stars, killer planets, whatever. But this movie is just so good, and I love the way it finishes. And of course, you get Yoda on Dagobah in this movie, which is arguably the funniest scenes in the whole franchise. Now, moving on. Return of the Jedi. Return of the Jedi is good, okay? It's a good movie. I personally don't see the love that people give Return of the Jedi. You got some people saying that Return of the Jedi is the best of the whole trilogy. I wholeheartedly disagree with that. I would say it's the worst of the original trilogy. So Return of the Jedi, I'm putting in good. We will put it at the top of good because obviously Attack of the Clones and Solo cannot be better than it. But in saying that, yeah, it can't go above good for me. I think the Ewoks is just a little bit cringy. I think Luke isn't as cool in this movie. He's too Jedi, if anything. He's gone too much into that stoic Jedi persona, and it doesn't bounce off as well as in all of the other movies, in my opinion. Now, moving on. Episode 7, Force Awakens. Now, I actually enjoyed Force Awakens. It's obviously just a blatant remake of the original A New Hope, but it's still good, and I would actually put it at the top of good. I would put it above Return of the Jedi. If you told me, would you rather watch Force Awakens or Return of the Jedi tomorrow, I would say Force Awakens. And I think killing Han, although it probably caused more issues in the later movies, I think for this movie in and of itself, I think it's a wonderful moment, and the hurt that you feel that hurt with Chewie. I think you probably need a little bit more character development with Kylo actually being his son for that kill to actually have the emotional depth that you would want it in this movie, just based on this movie alone. Like, if you've never seen Star Wars, you watch Episode 7, you don't get that emotional punch that you do from knowing all of the history of Han, which is a problem. But other than that, it's a fine movie. It's very, very good still. Now, The Last Jedi. Last Jedi is the most polarizing movie in the Star Wars franchise, quite honestly. A lot of people would have it as bad or if not absolute trash. For me, I think it's average. Obviously, the choices made in it are not the best. You know, Luke throwing away his lightsaber, the whole final battle of Luke like force projecting himself to Crate, although it's cool that, you know, you can look back at it and see, oh, he hasn't got any red footsteps, which means that he's not really there. Yeah, that's a cool little Easter egg or whatever to look back on, but I don't like the bait and switch that movie did. I don't like how irrelevant Benicio del Toro's character was from the Cantino Bite, I think it is. Yeah, there's some weird decisions in it, but obviously it does give us the most epic shot in Star Wars, which is Raddus just light speeding through fleets. I don't care if it's not theoretically possible or whatever. Okay, it's Star Wars. There needs to be some semblance of disbelief. And there's one really cool fight scene with Rey and Kylo going to town on a bunch of Praetorian guards in Snoke's chamber, which is just like unequivocally sick, right? It's just an awesome scene. But again, you know, you've even then got killing off Snoke, which I wouldn't even hate that they killed off Snoke if he wasn't built up to be such an integral part from episode 7. Like, there's so much just like disconnected things between episode 7, episode 8, and episode 9 that it just doesn't make sense as a whole trilogy as a whole. And that fractured feeling is really what killed these sequel movies, if nothing else. Now, speaking of killed movies, episode 9 cannot go anywhere other than absolute trash. I watched this movie in cinemas when it came out in, when was it, 2018, 2019? One of them. I've never watched it since. I have no interest in watching it since. I've bought it on Blu-ray because I'm a completionist, but I've never even taken it out of its wrapping. There is literally no part of me that ever wants to watch this movie ever again. The fact that you've got Palpatine returning from nowhere, the fact you've got the stupid line of "they fly now," which is the biggest meme from the trailer. I don't know why, who included it in the trailer to begin with, is just stupid. There's no part of that is funny. The whole sequence of the final battle where there's just like a million Star Destroyers and a million ships that just happen to turn up out of nowhere, it feels so disconnected from everything else that has happened in the series. You've got episode 8, no one would come to their aid when they were calling. All of a sudden now in episode 9, there's a million ships that have responded to a call. It just makes absolutely zero sense. And then the reveal at the end of the movie where Rey calls herself Rey Skywalker, there's clips in cinemas, I don't know if they're real or if they've happened recently, but I saw a clip the other day of people like audibly groaning when this happened in cinemas, which I understand 110% because it was just so ridiculous. She doesn't deserve the name Skywalker. She doesn't deserve anything. I know that there is a Rey movie coming out, and I am actually looking forward to that Rey movie. I'm looking forward to this franchise developing more into the future. But this movie didn't do anything to really allow the audience to fall in love with Rey the way that they needed to. The whole trilogy didn't do anything for that. I think she's been underutilized as a character, probably. Let down by the writing, for sure. And all in all, just hasn't been given the same time to develop, I think, that would be required for these movies. I think they tried to cram too much into these movies rather than focusing on character development that has just let Rey down, realistically. And it's no fault of her own. It's no fault of Daisy Ridley's. I have nothing against Daisy Ridley. Just the character of Rey is poorly written. And unfortunately, Episode 9 is by far the worst thing that has happened to Star Wars, and it ends up in absolute trash where it belongs. Now, next up, what should we go to first? I can actually say I've never actually watched the Clone Wars movie, and I've never watched Star Wars Resistance. So those two aren't going to get allocated. So we're going to instead go to The Mandalorian first, okay? Now, The Mandalorian is a good show. It is probably very good, in all honesty. I think The Mandalorian has done wonders for Star Wars, quite clearly. Din and Grogu is such an iconic pairing now, and their movie next year that comes out is probably going to do wonders in terms of box office money. I think the one thing that I don't like about The Mandalorian is at the end of season 2 when Luke showed up, I was really hoping that Sebastian Stan was going to be recast as Luke Skywalker in that scene. I think that would have been the perfect way to utilize Luke more in upcoming projects where you'd have a new, younger actor. I think people are more than open to recasting these people. Like, clearly, Mark Hamill is beyond done with this franchise. He's been checked out well and truly since The Last Jedi. And as sad as it is, they're probably waiting for all of the original trilogy members to die off before they recast again now, which I think is just pushing the can too far down the road. Mark Hamill would 100% give his blessing, and Sebastian Stan is such a good actor and a good lookalike for what Mark Hamill used to look like that he would be the perfect Luke Skywalker. And if he had appeared in that scene, honestly, it could be so much higher and so much better. And the possibilities for Star Wars moving forward would be endless. But they didn't do that. They just had a DA's Mark Hamill, which is fine. It was a cool scene. But yeah, not as good as what it could have been. Now, next up, the Clone Wars. The Clone Wars is nothing but goated, okay? The Clone Wars is the greatest thing to happen to Star Wars post the prequel era, and has done so much for people my age in particular that grew up with the prequels that weren't maybe in love with it as much. Watch the Clone Wars growing up, and a whole bunch of new kids that watch the Clone Wars growing up, and you can see the love that Anakin Skywalker has now. It's all stemmed from the Clone Wars being such a phenomenal series. And there's so many incredible arcs in the Clone Wars. All of Darth Maul's stuff with Savage Opress is excellent. Ahsoka's character development from season 1 through to season 7 and now her own show, and Rebels as well, everything in between. Her character development is fantastic. People hated her when this show first started coming out. People hated her with a passion. They were like, why does Anakin have a Padawan? Why is Ahsoka so annoying? And they've grown with her over 7 seasons of the Clone Wars. And honestly, the love that people have for Ahsoka now is just like unrivaled, really. Like, some people would probably say that Ahsoka is their favorite Star Wars character, even above Anakin or above Luke or anyone. And it's just a testament to how good this show is that something like that is able to happen. Now, in saying that, Star Wars Rebels as well, I think it's also very good. I would probably put it below Phantom Menace, above A New Hope. Again, 4 seasons of phenomenal television, and the fight between Ahsoka and Darth Vader in Rebels is some of the greatest Star Wars content that is out there. You've also got that epic confrontation with Obi-Wan and Darth Maul in Rebels, which is great. Unfortunately for me, I think after Darth Maul gets killed, everything after that isn't quite as good as what I would want it to be. You've obviously got the emotional Kanan death that is fantastic. You've got Ezra growing a lot throughout the show, but he's always a little bit whiny for my liking. And it's why I didn't personally connect with him as much when he showed up in the Ahsoka TV show. I think Thrawn is by far the best part of Star Wars Rebels, which is good. But again, the problem with Star Wars having an excellent villain is that you're never going to fully have a villain win or fully destroy the heroes to a point that it's like meaningful, unless it's Darth Vader doing something. So yeah, Rebels is a great show, but it's not quite as good as the Clone Wars, and it's not quite as good as other content that is out there. Now, what have we missed here? We've missed 3 big shows. We've got the Obi-Wan show, the Acolyte, and Andor, obviously. Now, Andor, if you haven't figured out from me talking at the start of the video, Andor would obviously be in GOATed, okay? Andor 100% goes in GOATed. That's where it belongs. That's where it stays forever and eternity. Obi-Wan, I would probably put in good. It was just, Reva didn't do it for me, okay? Reva was not good. The amount of people that came back from lightsabers to the stomach in that show is just too much for me personally. Okay, if you're going to stab someone with a lightsaber, make them stay fucking dead, okay? It's that simple, realistically. And then the Acolyte. The Acolyte would go in bad, okay? I did not enjoy the Acolyte. I think there were some decent aspects of it. Like I said, the lightsaber fights in the Acolyte are probably the best that have been since the prequels, but just so much wasted potential. Khmer in the Acolyte is fine, I guess. It's cool seeing Cortosis. I'm reading the Darth Bane books at the moment, and it was a fun little Easter egg for me to know that he was mining Cortosis, Darth Bane was, at the start of book 1. It's just a cool little thing. that the extended universe Star Wars books can delve into. When you like hear about things in the show and then you read books, you're like, oh my god, I know what that is. It's quite fun to experience that. But yeah, so that's where I would end up. So we got, yeah, Acolyte would go in bad, Obi-Wan would go in good, somewhere in between the movies, probably above Solo, below Attack of the Clones, maybe, or maybe at the bottom of good, in all honesty. Maybe even at the top of average, I don't know. I would probably have to rewatch Obi-Wan because that show wasn't the best. And I hear they're doing a season 2. I guess it would be fun, sort of. But yeah, so Last Jedi is there. Rise of Skywalker down the bottom. Good ones is pretty standard, I think. Very good. You know, you got Episode 1, Rogue One. Again, Rogue One very close to being goated, but not quite there. Episode 1, Rebels, Empire, Mando. I probably have Mando a little bit lower than what a lot of other people probably do. I know so many people just love The Mandalorian, but for me, it's very good. It's not quite as great as what people make it out to be, in my opinion. And then, yeah, top of goated, we got obviously Revenge of the Sith is my favorite movie out of all the Star Wars movies. You got Empire then next, and of course, the Clone Wars TV series. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about my list. Is there anything that you drastically change in there? Is there anything that you think I'm just completely wrong on? If there is, guys, let me know in the comments down below. Please drop a subscribe if you are new around here, and I look forward to seeing you guys again soon in the next one.